Hey guys, my name is Lockie. I'm a movie enthusiast and today I'm going to be showing you guys my movie collection. So this is my movie shelf. It has some other stuff such as some books and some Pokemon, and today I'm going to be showing you just my Criterion collection, which consists of this section, this section, this section, and then 2 box sets. So I got into collecting Criterions around 4 years ago, and I started getting into film that way, learning about foreign films, older films, and just learning how much better films were back in the day. Today I just wanted to go through the collection, and in later videos I can go through a bunch of stuff. I was going to do my entire movie shelf, including the Pokemon, and just document each one, and maybe add a little comment on each, why I like it, why I picked it up, and why it's one of my favorites. Okay, so starting off we have 12 Angry Men. This obviously is a masterpiece. Actually, I'm going to end up saying that about everyone, so I'll just say something unique about this. This was the first, or one of the first Criterions I got, and started my love for black and white films. 400 Blows is one of the first French movies I got. Brighter Summer Day, Edward Yang, is a very long film. I had to break it up into, I think, maybe 3 sittings, and it was well worth it because this is probably his best film. Next up we have After Hours, underrated Scorsese, very hectic film. Love the design on this, the cover. Next is All That Jazz, my favorite musical type film ever. This is in my top 5 of all time as well. Roy Schneider, such a great performance in this. Next is Barry Lyndon. This is my second favorite Kubrick, behind The Shining, which I'm still waiting to for Criterion to give them a release, which they probably won't because it's more mainstream than this, but yeah, great period drama. Next up is, I have to flip around this one, The Battle of Algiers. I actually got this very recently, so I haven't seen it, but I know it's very, very good, according to other enthusiasts. Beau Travail. This is my second favorite French film. I will tell you my first in a second, but yeah, this, shot in the desert, not a lot of dialogue, but a very good film. This next one is one of the few romances in my collection. This is a controversial film, so I'm just gonna leave this one and just say that I enjoyed it. So yeah. Next up is David Lynch's Blue Velvet. Super sad that he passed recently. I love all of his stuff. Twin Peaks is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and this one of his earliest movies, very good. Next up, Come and See. This one is this one I hadn't heard of, and as I got into collecting Criterions, everyone would say this is like the most disturbing one. Obviously I know what the most disturbing one is, which I haven't seen, but this one was very highly regarded, so I had to check it out. Also, I think the second highest on Letterboxd as of now. Yeah, and I gave it easy 5 stars. Next up is The Cranes Are Flying. This one is a great Soviet film. I wasn't too crazy about it. I love the director, that's why I got it, because of I Am Cuba, which I have over here. But yeah, it was still very enjoyable, very sad as well. Next up is Cure. This one mesmerized me, no pun intended, the first time I watched it. I think I only saw it about a few months ago, and as soon as I saw it, I haven't done this with many films actually, I literally just press play again and just watch the entire thing all over, and then I've shown a lot of friends and family this. So I think this movie is definitely in my top 3, and it's just every time I watch it I find something new about it, so it's a masterpiece, as are all of these. Next up is The Double Life of Veronique. This one I didn't really get the first time, and then I watched it again, still didn't get it, but it was a very good watch in terms of the storytelling and just the visuals. If I don't end up getting a movie, I'll just respect it for the cinematography and stuff like that. Next up is Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee. This is such a good film on racial tensions between different cultures, and one of the best opening scenes in all of film. Also the packaging is really cool. Next up is Double Indemnity, another one I got recently, and Billy Wilder is probably my top 5 directors, and I watched this recently for the first time as well, and well, it's so good how he can captivate you with a relatively simple plot and narrative, and the acting was incredible and the dialogue is second to none. So Billy Wilder at his best. Next we have Eraserhead. This is David Lynch's first feature film, I believe, and I had to pick it up on Criterion, even though I'm not too crazy about this. It is very weird, which I do respect, but it's not that enjoyable for me, at least, because again, there isn't a lot going on, but you have to kind of read in between the lines with this guy, so I might have to revisit that. Packaging is very good on this one though. Next is, I think this is the second Criterion I ever got, Fantastic Planet. I just really like the packaging, to be honest, on this. The cover was really cool. Movie is very good for its time, obviously, but it's just one of those in my collection that it's just there, nothing too special to me, at least. I know a lot of people love this one. Next up is The Heiress. Got this when I was over in England for £12, but I think I got it half price, so £6. I don't know what that is in Australian, maybe $10, but I actually haven't seen it, so I need to watch it. It's an older film, 1949, so can't comment on that. Next is High and Low, and I got this I think 2 weeks ago, and the main problem is, show you, obviously I think if you know about collecting this, it's quite hard to get. Actually, I don't think it's out of print, but it's just very sought after, so I was super happy that I managed to get this. Because also another thing with my Criterions is that living in Australia, the region for watching movies is region A, so if I just grab a random, you can see, oh sorry, no, region B. So movies, oh this is a 4K, this doesn't. Movies in Australia and Europe are region B, as you can see here. focuses. There we go. And so in America, and I think Canada, maybe, I don't think South America actually, maybe, but they are all region A. So I had a very, very difficult time when I got a lot of these. I also went to America 2 or 3 years ago and bought a bunch, and was super sad when I realized that I couldn't watch any of them because I didn't have a region free Blu-ray player, which I had to eventually bite the bullet and buy a 4K region Blu-ray player, which has been really good, so I can watch these instead of on my phone online somewhere. But that's a bit of advice for anyone wanting to buy these Criterions. Some of them I have are from England. Yeah, you can see the thing there, it's from England, so you can watch them, but a lot of them are from America, so except for these box sets, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, anyway, so I got this, and obviously the packaging is fine and everything, but if you look inside, and this was fully sealed as well, so I don't know how it must have got resealed, but you can see that the disc has been either mistakenly swapped or just taken out on purpose, and it's Tarkovsky's Ivan's Childhood, which I have not seen, but I know is also a Criterion. So if anyone has an Ivan's Childhood Criterion Blu-ray case that contains a high and low disc, let me know. I think we need to swap the discs, but yeah, I'm still trying to sort that out with the guy who I got it from, which yeah, it's been a bit hard to reach him, but yeah, high and low, I actually haven't seen it, that's why I bought it, and now I can't watch it, so, and I don't want to watch it online because I know it's a really good film, so I'm gonna have to hold out on that one. And yeah, next we have this shelf. This one is, I think, the only documentary I have in my collection. It is Hoop Dreams. This one is my favorite documentary of all time, and it is just such a good depiction of, you know, the American, or just in general, like a sport dream, childhood dream, trying to make it big, and just kind of the reality most times. But yeah, next up is I Am Cuba 4K. I haven't got a lot of 4Ks, but I knew I had to spend a little bit of extra money to get this one upgraded because it is just such a good film. I don't want to butcher this guy's name, Michael Kalatolov, who directed The Cranes Are Flying. Yeah, but yeah, I Am Cuba, it's kind of follows different storylines that are all connected, but yeah, very good film. Would recommend that one, as I would all of these. I don't know why I keep saying those comments. Ikaru, I actually haven't seen this one, so it is on the watch list, very high on the watch list, because I know it's meant to be excellent. In the Mood for Love, this was one of the early Criterions I got in America, and then I came back. This was the one that I put into my DVD player, and then it's just spat out the image, incorrect region code, and I didn't watch it for a whole year until I finally got the region player, because I wanted to experience it, because I know Wong Kar-wai films need to be experienced in the highest definition possible. Next up is the riveting Jean Dillman 23 Quai d'Or Commerce 1080 Brussels. This one I had to watch in, I think, 4 parts because I kept falling asleep, which I know I'm trying to be pretentious and like this film, but I'd rather just watch a video essay on why it's important that goes for 20 minutes or so, and then I'm done. But I understand the film and why it's so important, and I was there for the Science Sound poll when this caused a lot of uproar and came first, but I just had to get it in the collection, and it is. So moving on, I have the greatest film of all time, Lane. This is second in terms of my personal favorite films of all time. My number one film of all time is Stand By Me, but that is for more like sentimental like reasons, like in terms of like connecting to it and stuff like that, whereas this is like technically like on every level the best film I've ever seen, and it actually inspired me to start learning French. So once I'm fluent, I'll be able to thank this film. But yeah, I could spend an entire video length talking about this film, and I might do that actually, but yeah, the greatest French film ever made. Next is a film that I don't know if you could call it a guilty pleasure. I guess for me, with all these other films, this one is a personal favorite. The Last Days of Disco, a Whit Stillman film. This one just encapsulates just the whole buzz and excitement during the 80s and the disco era. I'm talking about it as if I was there. I wasn't, but yeah, I just love this film. Next is Les Samurai. This one I got a couple of days ago actually, and it is definitely worth the 4K upgrade. So this is the 4K, and this is such a simple film, and it just does its job in terms of being such a cool film, and just the eerie atmosphere with the sound design. It's just so good. Next is another David Lynch, Lost Highway. I think this is a 4K as well. This was very confusing, but at the same time just such a bizarre experience. I think you can say that for every single one of David Lynch's films, but this one, it's just out of nowhere something will happen and you'll just be so engaged, and yeah, I can't really say too much about this apart from praising how good it is. Next is one of the more recent ones in the collection. It is Marriage Story. This one is surprisingly a Netflix original, I think, or Netflix picked it up, I can't remember, but this one is incredible. The performance made me shed a few tears, and as soon as I heard it was a Criterion, I had to pick it up. Next is Memories of Murder. This one is a Bong Joon-ho masterpiece, as is Parasite, which I do not have on Criterion. I think I might have it on DVD, but anyway, this one, obviously based on a true story, had me on the edge of my seat the whole time, and yeah, I was devastated. Spoiler alert! I was devastated that they didn't find the killer, and it ended in that way. But now I understand the true beauty of that ending. But yeah. Next is Midnight Cowboy, which I haven't seen, and there's a fault in it, this cover, but heard it's very good, so picked it up. Next is Mulholland Drive, which I haven't opened from the seal. I think this is the 4K yet. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I like to revisit this, once a year or so, just to appreciate just how absurd it is, and it's it just feels like a fever dream. My favorite scene is from one of my favorite scenes is in this movie when it's I think it's called That's the Girl scene or something like that, where the director has to pretty much lie and choose the girl that he's been told to, and they have to sing for an audition. It's just one of the best scenes I've ever seen. Next up is Night of the Living Dead. This one is also pretty damaged, but this is a classic. This is a Criterion essential for a collection. Not one of my personal favorites, but then again, it's so influential for its kind of films that it transcended. I don't know if that makes sense. Next is Onibaba. This one is another Criterion essential, one of the most haunting covers, and yeah, the film is another example of why Asian cinema was just so ahead of its time back then. I think this was what, 1964. Wow. But yeah, another great early Asian film. Next is Paris, Texas. So I had the I think you can see down here. Where is it? So I had this release of Paris, Texas, and I knew it was a Criterion. This was just a cheaper option before I was started to really collect Criterions, but I had to eventually make the switch and upgrade to this version. As soon as I bought it, they released or announced the 4K upgrade. But anyway, it's still a really sad film. Great for the collection. Next up is Paths of Glory. This one is another Kubrick film. Actually, have I had a Kubrick yet? Oh yeah, Barry Lyndon. This is another Kubrick film. It's very underrated in terms of when people talk about, you know, his top 5 and stuff like that. I gave it a 5 stars, as I think I did most of his filmography, but it's so well shot, and the acting is very good, and the fact that they don't show the enemy the entire film just adds to that absurdity of war that is trying to be portrayed. Next up is The Piano Teacher. This one was another one that got me into French cinema. This is such a disturbing but then again realistic film, and just kind of put you into the minds of some people who are like this. Next is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Now this one took me a while to get around to watching. As soon as it came out, I was gonna go to the cinema to watch it, but never ended up going. When I eventually got around to watching it, straight away after the film ended, I ordered the Criterion, so that's what I've got to say about that. Next is The Red Shoes. This one is a 4K. This is another one I got when I went over to America. This one is one of the few films that can just do whatever it wants, and I'm just totally okay with it. Like, it has an entire dance sequence in the middle, and it's just so epic. As are a lot of Michael Powell and Pressburger's films. And last on this section is Secrets and Lies. This one again by Mike Lee. This one again is a very realistic film in terms of the dialogue, which I really loved, and it's just a very a normal, yeah, and yeah, it's just and yeah, it's just a very good English drama. And lastly, we have this section here. Got Star-Lord on top of a Rubik's Cube on top of a Skylanders portal, which is cool. And this is where the rest of the Criterions go. Obviously, if they're in alphabetical, they'll go and everything will shift, but I have this much room before I have to start making decisions to shift stuff around. But lastly, in this section, or last section, we have Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa. This is such a cool release. I actually think I've read all of the stuff that's inside of this, and I actually haven't seen it. So this is probably the biggest film that I haven't seen that I definitely need to watch, because this is, I think, what, spy number 2 in the collection, and I haven't seen it, which is crazy. But yeah, I've read all of the essays in there, so I'll know how to navigate through the film when I watch it. Next is my favorite, Billy Wilder, Some Like It Hot. I think Marilyn Monroe delivers a great performance, as well as Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. But it's one of the best comedies of all time, and another great release from Criterion, which I had to pick up. Next is my only Tarkovsky. That is, if you don't count the Ivan's Childhood disc that I got in the high and low case. But this one was my introduction to Tarkovsky, and I haven't actually seen any of his other filmography, even though I love this film. I gave it 5 or 4.5 stars. But this one was very philosophical, as I know all of his other films are, and it took me a little bit to understand some of the things, and then especially after reading more about the film, and then I did a rewatch, I respected it a lot more and understood what it's trying to say a bit better. Next is Taste of Cherry. This one was another one that as soon as I finished it, I A, ordered the Criterion, and B, watched it with my mom, I believe. And it's just such a good, simple film. I think it's very similar to Beau Travail in terms of how simple it is, and the narrative just kind of unfolds naturally, as if there was nothing ever planned in the first place. Next up is, I think I have the most David Lynch films out of any other director in my collection. But yeah, here we have the movie of the Twin Peaks franchise, Fire Walk With Me. I didn't actually realize that Twin Peaks had a film until I searched up what order to watch the whole thing in, because I have this here, which has the first 2 seasons plus the return and the missing pieces, I think, which led me to this film, which isn't included in that, and it's just so cool that it's a Criterion. And I think there are different versions of this movie, but I'm not too sure on that. Next is The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. This one got me into Jacques Demy, and just his entire style of the musical, just it's so mesmerizing, and the visuals of this film as well is very unique. I think I've used about every adjective I can think of in this video, so try not to repeat myself. Next up we have David Cronenberg's Videodrome. This is I think the only body horror film I have in my collection, and it certainly doesn't disappoint. I think it's so bold and I think a lot of people didn't appreciate it when it first came out, but also the cover is another essential Criterion cover. But yeah, I think it's very good in what it says about censorship and yeah. Next is Uncut Gems. So this one is I think it's a 4K release, and another Netflix original, I believe, which is very rare. But yeah, so this one, extremely anxiety inducing, similar to After Hours, but this one was very cool. I think the soundtrack was another element that made it so unique, and Adam Sandler delivered such a great performance in this one. And finally, the final Criterion is Yi, or I think it's a 1 and a 2 if you translate it. This one is my favorite Edward Yang, just on reflection over the last 10 or 15 minutes or however long until I spoke about A Brighter Summer Day. This one is definitely his best work, and film I actually got to revisit. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's another Criterion essential, and that brings me to the final Criterion thing in this section, I guess, because it's not a movie, it's a collection of films from Chantal Ackerman. When I got Jean Dillman, it came with it, and I know they have a bunch of Eclipse sets, which I haven't got, but yeah, there's no other place to put it. And then finally, I have the 2 box sets, the 2 heavy hitters in terms of Criterion's releases for the directors that they made these for. This one is a Christmas present I got recently, so I haven't got through all of this yet. I think I've got through maybe 4 films out of the 15 or 16 that are in here, but yeah, very essential, and one that I had on my wish list for a while, mainly because of how cool it looks. But moving on, we have the Holy Grail of Criterion collections. If you collect Criterions, you know this is a must-have. We have the Ingmar Bergman Cinema box set. Now, I got this second-hand for pretty much half the price of what it usually goes for, so it is a bit knackered, but it does its job. It has all the movies, it has the book of essays, and it sits very, very good right in the center of it all. Also, I was going to swap them around because this is a bit wider, but I think I like this one at the top, and that kind of is good for these other films. But yeah, this is, I think obviously it has all of his films in his filmography. I think maybe over 40, but that's it today. I thought this was going to be a short video, and it ended up being not a short video, but I could have talked about each of these in more depth, and I think I will in future videos. Also, I'm going to do some other stuff. So this is my foreign film section, and I have my A to Z English films, and then the Pokemon, which I want to go through as well. But yeah, that's it for the Criterions. If you guys want you can leave some video suggestions that I can do. But yeah. That's it.